Harmony. I am so happy to be here with you today, as always. Happy to share our moments, happy to be in a meeting place of healing and growing deliberately, intentionally, and collectively. So, thank you so much for being here. And I'm sorry, you guys know that I always have to kind of get us a little situated because normally you can't really see too much. For those my fellow YouTubers, you know what I'm talking about. But for those that are just tuning in, you can't really see too much before you go live. And so sometimes you go live and you can see like, oh, this is a little this way or this is a little that way. So excuse me while I adjust us. As I was saying, we are welcome. We are here. We are at a moment of harmony. Today's moment, and for those of you that are just tuning in, and I know for the most part, I've been seeing that the feed is kind of, we have some consistent people that have been here for a minute. So I'm not going to do the long introduction, but I am going to just say that we are still in a 32-week series entitled A Matter of Moments, which will also be the title of our interactive workbook, well, that comes with this session or at the end of this whole session. And then we'll move into another series of Moment of Harmonies, just like we came out of 25-week series of affirmations. So we're going to just be keeping this growing and glowing train going. Okay, because we want to get to where we need to be. And in this life, we're talking about a constant battle. We're talking about constant conditioning. We're talking about constant becoming. And we want to get to the point where the battle just feels like growing a little bit at a time and it doesn't feel brutal. Okay, it doesn't feel like it's killing us. So today's session is entitled That One Moment. That one moment. I really wanted to talk about this. I really wanted us to take this as a focal point for healing because there's so many times when I know that those of us that are wanting to grow and wanting to gain and wanting to become, there's so many times when I'm hearing us be like, well, this after that one time, I was never the same. Or we're comparing life today to a one time, to a moment in time that we've been looking for and trying to get back to forever. I'm not saying that that is bad, to have comparisons and to have desires and to have things that you hold on to. But I want to say today we're going to search through, delve into what happens when that one moment in time is not conducive to us, it's not productive to us, or it's not growing with us. And so then it's stunting us because the past can't move. So if the past can't move and we're stuck in it, that means we're not going anywhere. So it's not up to the past to move, it's up to you to move forward, to grow. And sometimes we know that we can't go back and change something or go back and re-get something, go regain something. These things aren't always possible. So what we want to be able to do is, hey, let us get to a point in time where we are not holding on to things that are holding us back. So we're going to get into that today, that one moment that changed everything, that one moment that broke or made everything. We are going to say, how do we deal with that in order for us to grow, gain, heal, which is the ultimate goal? How do we utilize, you guys know that's one of my favorite words. How do we utilize that moment in order to become who we are destined and moving forward to becoming? So we're going to go into that today. I want to do a quick thank you to all my Moment members, all of your support, all of your love, and your consistency. I am so excited to announce today that this weekend we will be opening registration for our annual prayer and purge, which will take place on January 7th this year. And it is in person. We've done 2 years of prayer and purges virtually. They've been very successful, very releasing, very beneficial, very beautiful and divine. Imagine what we're going to do in person. I'm so excited. Our prayer and purges are times when we come together at the time, at least of this, in this society, the beginning of the year. We come together at the beginning of the year to release and reset and renew and really be in a spiritual place, an intentional place of moving forward. So we pray, We dialogue, we do exercises and activities that are ready to help us release. It is the prayer and purge, and it is in person for the first time this year for 2023. So registration for that will open this weekend, guys. This weekend we're opening registration. It's going to be $50 a person. We're wanting everyone who is ready for a reset. And if you're anything like me or anyone that I am connected to, okay, what's happening in these last couple of months of 2022 is like booyah, okay? We are going to need to release. We are going to need to pray. We are going to need to restore, reaffirm, and reset so that 2023 can be full of the fruits of these labors. Okay, there are things that we do not want to repeat, see again, live through again, deal with again next year. So we want to get clear so that the lessons we were supposed to learn and gain, peace, how are you, peace, love, the lessons that we were supposed to gain, the lessons that we were supposed to utilize and have, we can be clear enough to see them. We are not taking old energy into 2023. We're not doing that. And the prayer and purge becomes such a wonderful platform for us to have spiritual release. So that registration is going to be open up this weekend. It'll be all over my social media platform. Different friends and people that work with me, different members of my team will have it all over their social media platforms. And you all will be able to say, how do we register for the prayer and purge this year in person? We're going to come together and we're going to spiritually work that thing all the way out. So I'm excited to announce that. With that all being said, let's beautifully transition into today's moment. That's why you came here, right? We're going right into today's moment of harmony entitled That One Moment. Okay. So briefly, I shared a little bit at the beginning of this session. When we talk about that one moment, and I talked about why it's so important for us to talk about that. I don't know. I feel like I have to sneeze, guys. But when we talk about that one moment, we hear people say, like I spoke of earlier, I never been the same after that one time. Or when this thing happened, it changed my life forever. We talk about that one moment, and there's a positive and a negative side to that one moment. So there can be that one moment, the first time someone was touched, the first time someone was rejected, the first time someone was physically assaulted, or there's a whole hundreds of thousands of one moments that can alter your life. So there's a lot of times when I hear people like, I never been the same after that. That changed my whole life. This one moment in life have been where that has been a place that's holding you back. Like I spoke of earlier, the past can't move. It is where it is. History is where it is. So it becomes up to you to be able to move and grow out of those circumstances and situations. So we talk about negatively, we can say there was this one moment, it's holding me back. We don't necessarily say it's holding me back, but we use language like, I can remember like it was yesterday. After that, I never, got on the bus, or I never went out with friends, or I never hung out with girls again. We say that one moment. And that's the negative impact of that one moment that holds us back, that one moment that we hold to in trauma and that we hold to in pain. And then there's positively, sometimes we use positive one moments or seemingly good moments that still can have a negative effect or aren't truly maturized in the present in order to be used realistically. So we can say like that first kiss, or the first time that, we were intimate with someone, the first time we met someone, the first time we went on stage, for those of us that are performers or artists, the first time that we were acknowledged, the first time, there's all types of positives moments that from that moment forward, I knew I was destined to be a singer. From that moment forward, I knew, right? So we still get caught in that one moment, positively, negatively, and forced. Ashe, beautiful. It's not being forced to grow us, and it's not being forced to grow with us. So when we talk about reminiscing, holding on to, honing into, being tethered to a moment in time, We're not talking about the millions of moments that we're blessed with to grow, utilize, and become. And a lot of times we get stuck there. So I wanted to just break down when we talk about that one moment. It doesn't always have to be this bad, horrible moment that's holding us back. Sometimes we're having immature expectations because of that one moment. Sometimes we're not open and receptive to the process of the universe because of this one moment. So my thing is, let us not get stuck in this one moment anymore. So, what is happening when we are doing that? This is our second point. What's happening to us when we're getting into a place where I'll never do that again, or I've always looked, or I can't settle down, or I can't be married because I'm stuck to this one moment. That one moment becomes the master of all of our moments. That's the perspective shift that I pray that we're able to have today. That's the perspective shift I want us to be able to focus on today. When we are stuck there, we can't be present here because that one moment has become the master of all of our moments. And so when you think about the master of your life, the guidance of your life, you're thinking about a creator. You're talking about a beautiful force. It can't be any one moment in your physical realm that is the master of your moments. It debilitates us. It cripples us. It retards our growth and our process. And it's happening to us without our thoughts, without us being clear in our thoughts. It's happening to us without us even being cognizant of it. We don't know that we're holding every relationship to this standard. We don't know that we're holding every job to a certain standard or a memory, a moment. We don't know that we're judging all people based on this moment, that our lack or our inability to trust and connect is going back to this moment. We do know that that moment changed us, and we acknowledge that it was alteration, but we don't sit down and intentionally and maturely reflect in a way to change and grow ourselves from that place. And that's where we get stuck in that one moment. Peace, blessings, mama. I love you. We get stuck there. So my thing is, hey, we're going to delve and dig into that one moment that changed all the moments for us. And the first thing I want us to keep in mind is that when we are stuck, and we let one moment be the moment that changes everything else, it becomes the master of all of our moments. So then we're distraught over patterns. We're wondering why decades later we're in similar positions. We're in the same place we've always been because we are letting moments master other moments. We're letting moments, monumental moments, life-altering moments, tragic, traumatic moments, even life-changing moments, powerful moments. We're letting them master all other moments instead of letting them be what they were supposed to be. Lessons, motivations for growth, moments for transformations, even sometimes just a season. There are so many of us out here that I know that I've been able to have counsel or therapeutic sessions with, healing sessions, where we are having the whole rest of our lives. We are letting this moment be the dictator of the whole rest of our lives. We're letting this be the definer of the whole rest of our lives. This one moment, that one time, that person. And then what we're doing is then we're magnetizing that because it's in our head now as reality. And so we got to sometimes go back and have conversations like, yes, the first kiss as a teenager is a bomb kiss because you've never kissed anyone before, because it's your introduction to romantic love. So it was magical. You had feelings all up in your chest and your neck. But there are some of us that won't connect with anyone until we feel that again. And it's like, well, let's be mature. What do we understand now about love and romance? What are we looking for now? You can't be a love that requires family and growth and obligation and responsibility. You can't weigh it up against a love that only required lollipops and stares. But we will hold on to that moment, that one time. We won't grow into other opportunities because we've had a standing ovation on stage, or we wrote our first poem, or we created our first masterpiece, and we're looking and chasing that high over and over again. Well, yeah, I still do art, but it's not like it was when back here. Or I still do it every now and again, but not like college. It don't hit the same. It doesn't feel the same. This is immature. This is an immature way to think about the growing of our gifts, the growing of our destiny. And then we become less receptive to our talents. We become less receptive to our gifts because we're chasing that first moment of realization, that first moment of acknowledging where you are, instead of being like, hey, these things grow, gifts grow, talents grow, life becomes real. I can't always look at my success and me chasing my dreams as I did from that one time when everyone was like, yeah, you're going to be a superstar, or oh my gosh, when everyone was in awe. But there are a lot of times when we are anchored to a moment, and it becomes the master of all moments. And we are constantly looking for or running from this one negative or this one positive moment. What kind of life? What kind of healing? What kind of reception would that be? What kind of reality is that when I'm only running from or searching for a moment? I'm not building. I'm not even creating anymore. I'm not trying anymore. I'm not revising anymore. I'm not cocooning and rebirthing myself. I'm just looking for that one time when life was simple. I'm looking for that one time when being a mom was easy. I'm looking for that one time when falling in love was effortless. That one moment is being the master, and now I can't connect with anyone. And now I'm disappointed in my life, and I'm disappointed in my children. I'm disappointed because I'm looking for that one moment again. Or the contrary. Now I'm not searching for a moment, but maybe I'm running from one moment. I'm running from, and when I say moment, I use moment loosely. I'm not saying a literal 60 seconds or any type of time frame that can be actually quantified. It could be a whole season. I'm talking about a chapter. Some of us endured chapters of abuse. Some of us endured chapters of neglect, chapters of rejection, chapters of pain and trauma. Some people's whole childhood, some people's whole first marriages. I'm not saying a moment in the literal sense. I mean a moment in the season, in the chapter of your life. You have allowed that moment to be the master of all moments. So after that first time he hit you, you never looked at men the same. After that first time as a little child, an adult deceived you, used you, abused you, exploited you, you never respected authority the same. You never trusted anyone the same. You never it's one moment. It is one moment that has been the master of all moments, and I'm going to guarantee that all it does is continue to magnetize itself. A negative moment will magnetize itself if you allow it to become the center of your operation. I'm going to say that one more time for those of my moment members and moment supporters and engagers who take those notes. A negative moment in life will magnetize itself and multiply itself if you allow it to become the center of your universe. If it now becomes the how and the why of your function, it becomes the how and the why of your life. Why things happen the way they happen, how your life unfolds. If you allow that moment. So that abandonment, that molestation, that abuse, that loss, that grief, that pain, that bullying, that frustration, whatever it is, when you allow it to become your, hey, that one moment changed my life forever. And it doesn't change in a positive light, and it doesn't move you into more receptivity. Listen, one of the most painful things I've ever experienced, I talk about it almost every moment now. One of the most painful moments I've ever experienced was the murder of my baby brother. That is not a moment that I'm going to say. Now, there are things that I know have been altered in me about that. But I will never allow it to be the center. I'll never say that from now on, this is how I'll operate. From now on, this is what I think. This is how I move. I've had realizations. I have had some traumas. I've had some connections that aren't great because of this experience. But I will not let it be more than an experience in my life, because that one moment that changed everything changes everything. That one moment that changed everything maintains the power and ability and capacity to continue to change everything. Don't let it. Don't be a part of it. Don't fall into it. So understand that when we're always said, man, that one time, from that one time forward, I never again. I never did. Do not let one moment be the master of all your moments. Don't even let one moment of success make you more arrogant and egotistical than the rest of your journey. Don't let one moment of praise, one moment of accomplishment make you arrogant and egotistical over the rest of your moments. You'll have dangerous falls. You'll have harsh realizations. You'll have trauma because you're giving power to the moment instead of to the mission. You're giving more power to the moment than the mission when we're talking about how moments are really meant to move in alignment with your mission. So, one moment masters all moments. Another thing that's keeping us from being able to move past that one moment, that one time this thing happened, that first time this thing happened, the last time you felt like this. One thing that is keeping us is in giving all of that last moment or that big moment all the power is because we don't recognize and utilize the power in all the next moments, all the following moments. So the last moment, this is our next point, the last moment or that one moment is just as important in your story as that first moment. So the last moment, meaning the last time you had a kiss, that moment is just as important as the first time you had a kiss. Follow me, follow with me. The last time you went after your talents or your gifts is just as important as the first time you went after your talents and your gifts. The last time you were violated or exploited by someone is equally as important. It weighs the same on your spirit as the first time you were lied to or exploited or mistreated by someone. And because we don't understand always how those next moments from that one big moment, how those next moments are equally as valuable, we don't jump into them, we aren't present in them, and we don't make intentional movements towards healing and changing them. So if I keep saying like, yo, but that one time, man, it is just as important. The person that you spent time with, or the person that you were becoming yourself with in high school, is not more important than the person that you're connecting with and joining with in your adult life. But we'll get stuck in the feelings in times. We'll get stuck with new emotions and realizations and explorations, and we won't give energy. We won't give progress. We won't give intent. We won't give focus to this moment. So the last moment you've done anything in your life, the last moment you felt anything in your life, it is just as heavy as that one moment that altered and changed in positive or negative ways. It is just as important. So you have to be able to stop and say like, look, I'm giving a lot of weight to this time that I was lied to, or me and my mother's beef, or me and my sister's beef. I'm giving a lot of weight to the first time I was given away or lied to or told something I didn't want to hear. I'm giving a lot of weight to that. But how about just like that weighed so heavy, the last time that happened to me yesterday or last week at work or last month at my sister's circle, or the other day in my marriage. The last time it happened, you had the power to change the weight just like as if it was the first time. I don't want to sound so conflicting and confusing. I'm going to find a way to break this down really quickly, or find a way to make this just a little more practical in our everyday life. The first kiss you've ever had with someone, all magical, all butterflies. Oh my gosh, I can't even describe, right? You've never even, it's your first time connecting with someone. We hold on to that standard. It's like, I need to see fireworks and butterflies. And guys, I am so guilty of definitely wanting the fireworks and the butterflies all the time. All the time. I have mercy on me. But I'm holding on to a moment. I'm holding on to a feeling. But I'm not holding on to a reality. I'm not holding on to a reality. Yes, the first time you taste something sweet, it's going to be like, oh my gosh. But listen, when my children were younger, all of them, when they were babies into toddlerhood, I did not allow my children to eat, especially the first couple of ones. They weren't allowed to eat table food until they were a year old. And it was hard because my thing was I didn't want them to get so focused on food that they were losing these kind of very healthy diets I had for them as baby, with the baby foods and the baby cereals and their milk and all the stuff they were on. And my thing was, I don't want them to get so hooked on table food or be early in processing things their body shouldn't be processing. So at the first birthday, it would be the time that they could eat something table food that wasn't baby food, that wasn't mashed vegetables or something like that, baby food. They would, and it was always the same every time. A whole year of wanting to eat what you're eating and doing what you're doing, and the first time they taste table food, pure joy and excitement in their face. From my son Wisdom, who's 16 now, addiction. It was pure addiction. He was just like, all day on his first birthday, he couldn't even play with his toys. He couldn't even enjoy his family being there to celebrate his birthday because he had tasted Oreo for the first time. And he tasted his birthday cake and he tasted pizza. And he was just like, oh my gosh. If Wisdom were to chase that feeling for the rest of his life, that indulgent flush of joy and excitement, if every moment needed to measure up to that moment to be a valuable moment, he would live a very depressed, a very unfulfilled, and a life he would be extremely disappointed in. We do that, guys. But what I want him, in that analogy, the understanding is the pizza he ate yesterday at 16 is the same pizza he ate at a year old. The difference was that he ate it for the first time. So 16-year-old Wisdom cannot hold on to that experience. He is matured. He is experienced. He is knowing. So now he can't be chasing that same excitement. I use that analogy because we do that with friendship, brotherhood, sisterhood, marriage, all types of relationship. That one experience is being measured against all these experiences, and we're not being fulfilled in our lives. But what if I tell you the love that you have today in any form is the exact same love as your first love? Intimacy in any form today is the exact same intimacy. Because we don't believe it, we don't cherish it in that way. We don't treat it in that way. We don't revere it in that way. We don't experience it in that way. Because now we have this burden of knowledge. We have this burden of being. And now we can't not be present in saying this is the same. I'm not the same. I keep on judging these people. I keep on judging these experiences. I keep on running from these moments in my life because I want them to be the same. But I'm not the same. The pizza didn't change. Wisdom changed. Your first kiss didn't change. You changed. That means that if you can evolve in that manner, you can evolve into a place of open receptivity and understanding to the kisses you get today, to the romance you have today, to the connections you have today. but we don't always share. We're not meiotic and balanced in our moments. And the same thing when it comes to the negative moments. We will say, I will never trust anyone again because of what this person did or said to me. After that, never again. And we don't acknowledge that your lack of trust as a child, your lack of trust as a teenager is the same lack of, you're in the same place. Meaning you're still the victim. By adopting this mentality of never again because of that one moment, you didn't do anything. You didn't do anything because you are still who you are and you're still repeating that in your present space. So your lack of trust is keeping you in the victim space of that child. Your lack of being a people person. I'll never be a people person, or I'll never talk to sisters. I'll never get married again. It's keeping you in that same moment that changed your moment. And little do you know is that the avoidance today is the same avoidance of yesterday. You haven't evolved it. You didn't avoid it by saying you'll never trust again. You didn't avoid exploitation. You didn't avoid depression. You didn't avoid sadness. You didn't avoid despair. You actually are keeping it because the same pain from them is the same pain from today, and your actions, unless divine and intentional and possess your full power, as you have the power if you acknowledge that this moment is equally as important. From the moment someone snuck into your bedroom, the moment someone put their hands on you, when I was a teenager, I was a part of a domestic violent relationship. Very young to understand that that's what it was. Had an image in my head of domestic violence and didn't think that that's where I was because it was sporadic and periodic or occasional. But someone was putting their hands on me. I had actual fear in my first teenage relationship. And so when you can go from that place of saying, like, look, from that moment on, I never even, dated anybody that was bigger than me, or I never talked to anybody that I felt like would have aggression on me, or I learned to fight back. I learned to hit back. And you're not understanding that moment that that first moment that someone put their hands on you, that first moment that someone disrespected you is just as important as this moment right here. The last moment you had to choose someone, or the last moment you had an altercation with someone, or the last moment that you felt victimized. They're the same moments. Excuse me, y'all, my throat felt like they're the same moments. They have and I mean in value and in weight, right? They're the exact same. And a lot of times we're focused on that one in the past, and we don't know that we're either recreating or we're being retarded by the moment in the present. We're either recreating or being restricted by the moment in the present that is equally as liberating or equally as demoralizing or demeaning or breaking down as that very first time, that very first moment. So the last moment is just as important as the first moment. That the kiss you had yesterday has the same weight to it as the kiss you had. You won't value it. You won't be receptive to it. You won't be open to it because we're either running from that one moment or we're just looking for, chasing down that one moment. Not understanding that we have the power in every moment to make them just as powerful, to have them be just as transformative, to have them be just as incredible and just as projective for where we're going to be or where we can be. So we're not always keeping that in mind, but that is our next moment. So we have our last moment. Our last point to this moment of that one moment. And then we're going to go ahead and get out of this moment. This will not be a very long moment today. We've had some long moments these past Saturdays because it has been something, okay? Retrograde has been brutal. So we've had some long moments. But we are going to get in and out of this moment. So the last point of this moment, when it comes to us being focused on that one moment, That one moment someone said something, that one moment someone did something, that chapter in our life, that season that won't go away, that keeps repeating itself because it's magnetized at this point. When we are saying, like, look, I am stuck on that one moment. That one time I went to Vegas, or that one time he spit on me, or that one time all those girls put that stuff in my hair at school. There's 100,000 places for us to get stuck in the past. There is 100,000 places or more for us to get stuck in the past. But what we have to know is that there's also 100,000 places for us to grow in the future. There's 100,000 places for us to get stuck in the past if that's where we mentally, emotionally, and spiritually are. But if we are willing to be brave and courageous and hone and harness our divinity, there are also 100,000 great and wonderful possibilities for our future. So in this last point of that one moment, there is there is nothing I won't do for peace. Y'all, this is very genuine point that comes straight from my heart, exactly from the Book of Harmony. This is coming out of my life. I have reached a point in my life at 36 with all that I've experienced, all that I've been through, and I'm still considered young in some degrees, guys. I have not even at I would say, my wise years. But where I am now, there is absolutely nothing I won't do for peace. There's absolutely nothing at this point. There's nothing I won't do for peace. There's not a situation I won't distinguish or walk away from for peace. There's not a dream I won't chase for peace. There's not a reality I won't work towards for peace. There's not an option I won't try that's going to get me to peace. Now, I'm talking about genuine peace. I'm not talking about low vibrational excitement, low vibrational highs. I'm talking about real, genuine peace. I am at a point in my life where there is not anyone I won't cut off. There is, for peace sake, there's not anyone I won't connect to. You know, back in the day, I used to be a little bit more picky about who I even am going to connect with or share space with or share ideas with. At this point, if peace is a possibility, we linking. There's not one thing I won't do for peace at this point in my life. How does that relate to that one moment? Because sometimes we have to be brave enough to grow enough to get out of moments that are holding us, keeping us away from peace. Sometimes we have to be intentional enough, receptive enough to grow out of moments that are keeping us away from peace. So if I can no longer be an artist because I'm stuck on the beginnings of my artistry, I'm stuck on the initiations of my talents, and I can't go through the weathering to grow in my talents, I'm not willing to do anything for peace. Because anything for peace means going through a process. It means sitting sometimes in dark and loneliness. It means also putting yourself forward. There's so many things you would have to do to get to that peace in your life. But in order for that one moment to not master and weigh over all the other moments, you would have to come to the realization, like, you know what, you may never get to sit with your grandmother again. You may never get to have that experience on the New York runway again. You may never, ever be able to deal with, or so you think, get over or get the image of someone violating you out of your mind, disrespecting you, disregarding you out of your heart and your mind. You may feel like you can't get out of that ever again. But there comes a point in all suffering. There comes a point in all processes. There comes a point in all yearning for growth and betterment. There comes a point where you are exhausted. You are exhausted from holding on to things that are holding you down. They're just too heavy. Even though you have great fear that if you let them go, you might pick something up heavier. But there comes a time where you're like, look, if I let this go, this might happen to me again. If I let this go, I'm gonna be walking right into something probably worse. I might be too naive or too blind. But then it's just heavy, but my shoulders ache, but my back ache, but my fear is allowing me to hold it, and my pain is allowing me to hold it. But if you get to the point where you say, there is nothing I won't do for peace, that means I'm gonna put this burden down, even with the fear that I might pick up something worse or that this might happen to me again. But if I know in my heart and I've reached a place in my purpose where I will not ever let chaos reign, meaning there is nothing I won't do to have peace. Once I am certain and sure of that, I'm not even afraid of what might be waiting for me on the next level. After I move out of this level, after I graduate from this level, after I transition out of this situation, I'm not even afraid. Because what I know is that there is nothing I won't do for peace. Try to give me a bigger problem than the one I held on for 20-something years. Try to go ahead and roll me in a bigger fear than the one that I held on to for 15 years. Try to give me more trauma or more pain than the ones that I was stuck in for such and such amount of decades. Go ahead and try it. I'm not even afraid anymore. Because I've reached a point where there is nothing I won't do for my peace. That's where I am today. I have no fear. Not saying I got it all figured out, that I'm perfect and that all is right. But if my peace is compromised, I no longer am available. I don't compromise with the compromise of my peace. I don't do that. So if my peace is compromised, I know I have no problem leaving that job. Y'all, I know people think I'm crazy. A lot of people think I'm crazy. But I'm at the point where I can't hold on to that one moment. I can't let that trauma keep me. I can't be anchored to a moment that has proven to master all my other moments. So now I will take my time. Now I won't settle. Now I won't, because I understand now that peace is the point. Peace is the point. So I'm moving in that direction. I am carefully choosing, because I know that if this don't bring me peace, I'm not going to have much to do with this. I'm not going to deliberately put myself in situations where I'm going to be giving up, cutting off, drying off, dropping bridges, new season, new stuff. I don't want to live that life. Who wants to live that chaotic life? Because I know I'm there, though. Because I know that that's a possibility for me. I'm going to be careful in my choices. I'm going to be more present in my realities. But I first have to do that by not being in the past of a moment that is holding me back. So if you had that one moment with that magical connection in time, the goal is to grow that moment into your reality of today. If you had that one moment that was traumatic and destructive, the goal now is to utilize that moment into a better today, a better realization of today. It is not to hold so tight to that moment that you keep it with you always and it is magnetizing the rest of your life. I want to tell you all that I love you so much. Thank you for joining in for a moment of harmony with me today. It has been a crazy week. I was like, I'm going to pull this moment up out of my hat because it has been a lot going on. But you guys are always therapeutic for me. It's always loving for me. It's always a beautiful exchange. And even through virtual, I can feel and receive your love, and I reciprocate and bring it right back out to you. Thank you for joining me for another moment of harmony. For those that weren't here at the very beginning of this session, remember, we're opening registration up this weekend for that in-person prayer and purge. It is coming in the beginning of January. Those that have been a part of it virtually for the first 2 years, you are not going to want to miss it in person. I don't want to miss it in person, and I'm the one that's putting it on. It's magical. It's divine, and I look forward to you registering, getting those registrations, and referring a friend, and making sure that we have a We are full and ready to pray and purge and shift the energy at the beginning of the next year. I love you all so very much. Thank you for being a part of this moment. I will be back next Saturday at 10, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. I got the saying right this time because I was talking to my sister about it. What is that mother used to always say? Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. I will be here next Saturday, 10 a.m., for another moment of harmony. You all be blessed. Thank you so much.